Today I'm going to be hopefully answering a question of any potential buyers or shoppers that are looking for a 5th gen Dodge Viper. For anybody that's new to the channel, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and if this is your first time here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click that bell icon if you want to be notified of the future videos that I upload. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I've got this beautiful 2013 Dodge Viper behind me, and it's not just any Dodge Viper, this is actually my Dodge Viper. Now, with any car that you're shopping for in the used market, there are obviously a few options that you want to look out for when you're searching for your new vehicle. Specifically in this video, I'm going to answer some about the 5th gen Dodge Viper and things that I looked for when I was looking for mine. One of the big things that you want to look out for, if it is the early year, the 2013 or 2014, that it has had the R28 and R29 recalls done through a Dodge dealership. These were to solve the issues of high oil consumption and the rod bearing failures for these V10s, because that did plague the early motors quite frequently. If the owner had these done back in 2013 and 2014, when the recall window was open, Dodge actually extended the powertrain warranty for 120 months or 10 years. So this 2013 SRT track pack that I bought actually has the powertrain warranty till 2023, and it's something that is a little bit extra value that a lot of people do not know. Now, quick side note, I did want to specify that the dealership that I bought this from, it was a used dealer. When I actually called to ask about the recalls being done, they actually had no idea what I was talking about. So there were some other, I'm not going to name names, but there were some other bigger Viper specific dealers who would typically mark up cars that had these recalls done because they knew they could use the warranty as a selling point. But I did want to specify that if you are looking for a car or you see a private seller and they are not sure, ask for the VIN. You can call your Dodge dealership and have them run the VIN to see if it actually has had the recalls done, and if so, you get the warranty. So just a little quick tip there. There are a few other options specifically for the interior that I wanted to discuss with you guys and kind of let you know ahead of time, because you don't think about it when you're reading it on paper. You might not think it's that important. One of those things that I had to decide on was, because this is an SRT and it is a base model Viper low option car, there are a few things this does not have. One being, it doesn't have the suede or like Alcantara-esque headliner that makes this car a little bit, look a little more luxurious. Second thing, it doesn't have a Laguna interior, the Laguna leather, which I've actually sat in one of those, and it is nice. The third thing that is a big one for a lot of people, and to me, I didn't really care, was the sound options. So there were a few things that you could get. This just has the bass sound, like it has like no sub right here. You actually could get an 18 speaker option that had an additional sub, huge sub right here in this middle compartment. Now, I have heard the people that have had those have been very pleased with it. It does sound good, and it was an option that not every Viper had. So if that's something that concerns you, I would definitely make sure that the one you're looking at has that. So here we are in the interior. Again, you know, we just started the car. You get that nice snarl. This is all stock, by the way. This is, you know, stock exhaust, stock headers, everything. Now, there's a few things on the interior that I wanted to show you guys. One, like I said before, so this car doesn't have the backup camera. This was an SRT, just a base, like base car. The only option basically was the track package. Now, you can, from what I've been reading, you can add a backup camera. If that's a big thing for you. To be honest with you, I would just do it in the aftermarket. There's a couple things here. One, if you click this SRT logo, you do get Srt Performance Pages, and I believe it comes standard on the track package. So as part of that package, you do get this. But you do get all the gauges. You get the this engine meter that shows horsepower and torque, oil pressure. There's one that shows like your G-force, steering angle, and all that type of stuff. And you get, of course, timers for 60 foot, all this, you know, all this fun stuff. So I haven't really used any of this stuff since I bought it, but I do use the gauges because I do want to monitor my oil pressure, oil temps, coolant levels, and stuff like that when I'm doing some spirited driving on the back roads. I've done a lot of POV videos, and I usually just let the car kind of speak for itself, but in this one I kind of do want to give you my thoughts. There are a few interesting things if you've never driven this type of vehicle before. The first that I'm just gonna, before we even get driving, the tram lining in the front of the car is pretty noticeable. This has 295 front tires. The roads near you are not great. This car is gonna pull really hard left or right depending on the grooves of the road. Now, a lot of people will tell you there's a huge dome, a bubble up here, and that's true. There is. I'm 6'2", and you know, a heavier dude. And I had read stuff online, you know, like, oh yeah, 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", you'll be fine, it's all great. You know, Dodge has this bubble roof, there's like a bunch of dome space up here, you know what I mean? Easily, you can probably fit a helmet. That quickly was shattered for me. So, I mean, immediately, as soon as I sat down, it was kind of like a heart-sinking moment. I realized that, like, holy shit, I can't see anything. Now, I've bought the, I think it was from VIPER Exchange, might have been one from the other, you know, VIPER parts dealers, but I bought a seat lowering kit. So now I can actually see ahead of me. Whereas before, I know you guys can't see it right now, but there's this roof line that comes down into your vision. So your head is fine, but of course, you know, because the roof line comes down so much, when you're looking straight, you can't see, no way you can see stoplights. If there's any type of hill, you can't see anything. You're doing this constantly. You know, you're looking around. So if you're a tall person and you know you want a VIPER and this is the thing it is your car that you want, I'm gonna be real with you. Before you even go buy the car, once you've kind of agreed on a price and everything, just go and order a seat lowering kit. It'll save you time. You're not gonna get the car and then, you know, do what I did and have to wait a week or so for it to ship, and you have the car for a week and you can't drive it. So, I mean, you're gonna drive it, but you're gonna be doing this the whole time. It's not gonna be a great experience, and your back is gonna hurt. One of the big things that I noticed when we were driving this car back home, again, it was about 4 hours away, so I got to know the car pretty well in those 4 hours of my back hurting and me, you know, slouching down to be able to see anything. One of the big things that I noticed is there is a ton of road noise in this car. You can hear everything in the road. If you pick up rocks, anything, all you hear is the whole time. Just know this is not really a refined car. I mean, it is in the most sense of the word a weekend driver, toy, track car, that type of thing. I would never want to, you know, tell somebody like, oh yeah, you can daily drive one of these all the time. It's terrible. You would never want to do that. Now, is this the best car I've ever owned and probably will own? Yes, I do definitely agree. There's a few other things that I wanted to kind of share with you guys, and the reason why I think this car is probably the best, dare I say, the best car you could buy for $100K in terms of looks and like exotic feel, punches way above its price point. Way above its price point. It is literally the best thing that I've heard in quite a long time, and they only get better with mods. That's what's so crazy. But speaking of mods, that is one other thing that I really want to hit home or drive home for you guys if you're really considering a Viper. Now, with most cars, modern cars, right? So turbocharged, supercharged stuff. Well, let's just, for example, we'll use the Z06, right? The C7 Corvette Z06, because I was actually cross-shopping those before I got this car. And to be honest with you, they're pretty good. They are kind of a cookie-cutter car. They're literally everywhere down here. I live in the South. Corvettes are like the dime a dozen. It's insane. But it doesn't change the fact that that car is a good car, or a very competent sports car. I'll just put it that way. But like with most modern cars, for not a lot of money, you can put headers, exhaust, cam, you know, do a pulley, whatever, run E85, we'll do flex fuel, and you're not in it for that much. And you get crazy amounts of return on your money in terms of horsepower and performance, right? Whereas the Viper, because these were such limited production, I think in total for the 2013 to 2017, in total, I believe there were like 3,300 Vipers made for the 5th gens. So there's not a lot. So the companies that do make parts and do builds for these, a few being, you know, like Calvo Motorsports, Inthmoto, Viper Exchange, Prefix is another really big one. All these manufacturers or these companies that design parts for these, they spend a lot of money on R&D, a lot of money on time, breaking parts and all this stuff. So to get that money back, right, they obviously have to sell parts at a higher value to recoup their costs. With that being said, I've gotten quotes back from both Prefix, Inthmoto, and a few other places. And I mean on the cheap end, for like, to get this car from, okay, to 660 wheel, whereas stock, these cars dyno about 535, 540 wheel. I was quoted around 25K. Now 25 grand for what is effectively like 140 horsepower gain and like 120 torque is pretty crazy. That is not too enticing in terms of like, you know, from all the other cars that I've came from before, where it's like, oh, you throw down pipes, you get bigger turbos and run ethanol, you know, whatever, you're making 380 horsepower more than you were before. Stuff like that is nuts. So in terms of just a like strict dollar to like performance output, these cars do not do well until, and this is the big one, until you get to the really, really high horsepower, and then you're talking, you spend 60 grand, but you're making, you know, 1,300 wheel on a stock motor. Well, that's crazy. A couple other things that these should be common knowledge, but some people don't think about it because they're focused on like, you know, hey, I can trade my car in, I can get this deal, I'll get this financing, it'll be this exact amount a month, and I can do that, right? But there's a couple other things that I really want to make sure you guys understand if you're in the market for one of these, and that is tires are very, very expensive for this car. They're stock in the rear, they're $355 rears. They're like $500 a tire for like a tire, one tire. And if you want to have any fun with this car, unfortunately, you're basically buying like R compound, super, super soft summer tires, which means you're gonna get like 5,000 miles maybe out of the tires before you have to change them, especially in the rear. Now I know that is not a shock for some people, but when I've told this to some other people that have that drive sports cars and stuff, they're like blown away. They're like, holy shit, you have to change your tires like every like 4 months in the summer? And I'm like, yep, because I want a hook, right? If that doesn't make you want to buy a Viper, I don't know what will. This thing sounds insane. But anyway, back to the tire thing. There are not a lot of options in these tire sizes. That was the other thing I wanted to say before I did, got a little carried away trying to merge. But there's not a lot of options because a lot of manufacturers don't make tires that big, unfortunately. But that's something to think about again. I just want to really reiterate, if you are looking for a Viper as like, oh sweet dude, I'm gonna sell my daily driver, or I'm gonna trade it in, I'm gonna get a Viper, I'm gonna put a bunch of miles on it, drive that shit every day. If that is your goal, I really, really, really want you to understand, it's gonna suck. Like, you can make do, and you can say it's great, it's gonna suck. I just want to be very honest. This car is not comfortable. It's fine, again, on smooth interstate roads where everything's flat. It's great. I mean, but what car is not great? You know what I mean? On that type of road. If you do decide to get a Viper, first of all, I'm happy for you. I think, again, I really think this is an experience that is so lost in pretty much any other car because of how raw this car is. I've driven a lot of other vehicles in the similar horsepower range. They're not even close. I mean, for real. In terms of like analog, this Tremix 6-speed is insane. The suspension setup in this car is so good for track, obviously not for daily driving. The power delivery in this thing is nuts. It's just everything. The motor sounds so good. And if you're crazy enough to spend $25K, you go heads cam, you know, you make 700 wheel horsepower and you just, it doesn't matter. You're in a V10 that sounds like it's going to try to kill somebody and kill you, and it's the best thing ever. And if you die, you're like, sweet, I go to Valhalla and fucking Thor fucking fist bumps me. And it's fucking epic, dude. I don't know. It just ticks all the boxes for me, and I hope that if you're watching this video, it's because you have either looking for a Viper or you have bought one and you want to make sure you got a good car or something. So just for real, if you're on the fence about buying a Viper, just fucking do it. I promise you, you will love it. I'll leave it at that. You'll love it. Don't look back, just buy the Viper and do it. You'll be so happy that you did. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel again and you made it this long, clearly I guess this is, you know, decent content. I have no idea why anybody would make it this long in the video, but if you did, thank you guys so much. You know, obviously the feedback and the comments really help me stay motivated and to keep going with this stuff. So you know, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. If you want to see more of these videos, just click the bell thing so you get notified. Other than that, thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you guys in the comments. I'll be there. I reply to basically anybody that comments any time of the day because I'm a nerd and I stay up till like 4 AM playing video games and shit. So anyway, yeah, thank you guys. Have a good one.